Okay, we're going to look at building normal maps and doing it 3 different ways. So I've got a normal map here placed on this object, and if I grab the light, nice thing about normal maps, they handle the lighting a lot better than bump maps. Okay, so we're going to do one in Photoshop, we're going to do one from Big Geometry, and then one in ZBrush. So 3 different ways to handle it that I want my students to recreate for me. Alright, so we'll go to Photoshop, and I've already created this. Basically all it really is some simple shapes. You can do text, you can do whatever you really want, and in fact I'm going to come into my effects and do a color overlay and maybe change this to a lighter color of gray. Go down to my outer glow. And with my outer glow, basically I just want this thing to kind of blend out just a little bit. Also, I'm noticing this is a little bit harsh, so I'm going to add a bit of a stroke. That's going to make this rounder and also make it a little more interesting. Actually, that's maybe going black might be kind of cool. Do this on the center. And the black's going to kind of kick it down, which will be kind of nice. Maybe not quite so much. I like that. So, if I wanted to create this, turn this into a panel, notice I've got these kind of shelves stacked a little bit, which I think will look kind of nice. And that should be good. Okay, so we're going to take this and save this thing. And I'm just going to save this as, let's just do a JPEG, or actually maybe a Targa, since that's supported in game engines as well. And I'm going to go to my documents, my projects, sci-fi, and drop this right where it should go, under source images, and save this thing out. This is my normal, sure, PSD demo, love it. Save that. And now we're going to open this thing up in crazybump. We could use a lot of different softwares, but crazybump will be good. Since I've got it, we'll use it. And once we have this in here, we'll open up our file. We're going to open it up as a height map because I'm using my whites to darks as height values. So that'll make it a little cleaner. And go to my documents, my project, sci-fi, source images, and I want to grab the last thing created, which I can probably do if I turn this to details. There we go. So open this thing up. It's going to give me this, and we can kind of play around with some of the things. I want this to be a little tighter than it is, so I don't really care too much about my large detail because I don't have much. There we go. Medium detail, even that I can loosen up. And what's kind of neat, I can see how this thing is starting to blend up from my black and white. We could look at this on, say, a box to get a sense of what it might look like in game. And see my names coming through pretty well. And I might sharpen this just a little bit. And maybe pump the intensity up just a little bit too. I don't think there's any noise, but if there is, we can try to get rid of it. I think that's going to be good, so I'm going to save this. Save normals to file. Source images, normal PSD, normal, love it, okay. And I've noticed that if you export a JPEG, it really compresses it, unfortunately bad, so we'll go back to Targa in here. and save that. Looks good. I could play with the occlusion, and it's going to give me like kind of what it would suspect I would get for occlusion. Specularity, same thing. All the edges kind of get bright. Diffuse is probably just the default color. Let's see what we get if we do a specular color. That might be kind of nice. So save that. Same thing, Targa. And let's do a... Now we'll stick with that. Okay. Let's go back to Maya and see what this thing looks like. So I'm going to kill this. And in Maya, I'm just going to replace this one. And we'll go to my shot here. I don't need my environment, which I have. So I'm just going to ditch this. There we go. So I've got basically just right now a normal map and kind of a metal texture. So let's just come back in here to my bump, tangent space normal, replace this one with the new one we just put in, which is this guy right there. So now you'll notice that it's been placed on here, and I've got it placed in, because of my UVs, it's spaced kind of funny, but it works out great. You can see how tight that is. In this case, I've got it on my repeat UVs, so we'll take this back down to 1. There we go. And let's try seeing what happens if we drop the specular color in there as well. So specular color, grab file, open up my spec, and now it's giving me the shininess where I want the shininess, but not everywhere. A lot shinier on all these corners than anywhere else where it might be rubbed a little more often. Okay. And you know, maybe if I wanted to change that a little bit, we could go back in here, right mouse click to graph a network. I might take this little spec map and replace it with my original, and that's going to make anything white very shiny, anything black completely dull. It might look a little bit cooler. So if I grab my light and drag this around my scene, you can really see where things are shiny and not shiny. Okay, so that's how to do a normal map from Photoshop. Cool, looks great. Next off, we'll do one in Maya and then one in ZBrush.